cityscapes. You know about landscapes, of course. Landscape painting is a genre, after all. They're real paintings, okay? You go out into nature and you paint nature, okay? Well, not so for Pissarro. You go up about 5 stories, because you can't go up higher in Paris anyway, unless you go to the Eiffel Tower or someplace like that, okay? Good zoning. And you look down and you paint modernity. We recognize it, and it is golden. Okay? That is, the city itself is not sort of urban entanglement. This is a celebration of modernity, and it's an important one. The most important thing that I see in the painting, but it's because I'm a social historian of sorts, is this. Gaslight. Gaslight. What did they do at night for light before gaslight and electricity? Okay? The whole notion of being able to light up the streets, this is a day painting, but to do so at night opens up the café concert, opens up the cafes, opens up the nightlife, and so on, that people could not and did not have. Okay? So that, in this sense, a small piece of technology, like gaslight and then electric light, changes the universe in every sense, changes all kinds of social customs, I would argue, and whatever. This, by the way, and look at the bustle on this stuff, okay? It's moving. I'm trying to give you a feel for it. In other words, this is not stable, okay? This stuff is moving. It's becoming, okay? Something is changing every day. Baudelaire said much earlier, he said, one of the most interesting things that you do is when you're in a crowd, you kind of have to dance, okay? That is, something new is occurring in these big cities, and you have to dance your way through and dance your way around these kinds of things, and so on. And of course, the wonderful still looks this way, except the fact that these would be automobiles instead of carriages, the opera, Place de l'Opéra, okay, and so on. And may I add that if you do go to the Place de l'Opéra, the ceiling of the opera is painted by Chagall, who of course was not alive at that moment, okay, and it is, even if you don't go to an opera, it's worth going to see this extraordinary, I really mean it, extraordinary mural on the ceiling, and so on. The French love to have people paint for them, and then they make them Frenchmen. Chagall's a Frenchman, and Picasso is a Frenchman. The Mona Lisa is a French painting, and so on, and so on. There is this sense of cultural monopoly, you know, that is there. They half deserve it. I don't think they fully deserve it. Okay, the railway, another modern phenomenon, and may I add, a liberating one. I'm convinced, again, as a social historian, that the 2 most liberating inventions of the last half, although the railway is really first half at the beginnings, but the last half is when you get the railway tracks built, are the railway and the bicycle. That is, the bicycle permits people to leave their village. I'm not joking. That is, it permits the poor to do certain kinds of things. Nobody's done a study of this, as far as I know. Okay, that is not the history of the bicycle. Everybody said, oh yeah, but then we invented a shift, and then we invented gears, and so on. But what it is that the bicycle permits you to do socially that you could not have done before, these are liberating. People can maneuver out of their valley, if you like, and of course the Impressionists celebrate the railway. You would think they wouldn't. You would think that they would say, oh, an intrusion into nature, and so on. No, not at all. It's a terrific celebration. Even when they have the railway in nature, by the way, this is the railway bridge at Argenteuil. The one before, by the way, was one of the many Gare Saint-Lazare paintings that were done by Monet. He also painted the railway many times. And it's a celebratory. The smoke here, may I add, is about the adventure of the railway. I'm very serious, okay? In other words, we don't quite know where we're going, but we're going someplace. That is, the railway permits you to journey, and I mean it in both senses, journey physically and therefore journey psychologically, of course. It permits you to do that, and of course it permits you to re-see your own place when you come back, or else you haven't traveled, obviously, and so on. And here, even in the countryside, the railway goes off the painting. You know, it's going somewhere. It's got smoke. There's a bit of adventure, if you like, that's going on here. And it's not seen as an intrusion. It's simply part of modernity.